Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to consider a profound idea, one that can fundamentally change how you present yourself to the world. Imagine you're at a social gathering, a business meeting, or even a casual encounter with a stranger. Someone turns to you and asks, "What do you do?" Your instinct might be to respond with a job title, a quick summary of your role, or a label that neatly packages your identity. But what if, instead of defining yourself with words, you let your actions, your results, and your character speak for you? What if you allowed the world to discover your value through the impact you create, rather than a fleeting description? Today, I'm going to share a philosophy that can transform your life. Never tell people what you do. Let them see it, feel it, and experience it through your actions. I've spent decades studying what separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain ordinary. The most successful people don't rely on titles or declarations to prove their worth. They don't need to announce their roles or boast about their accomplishments. Their work, their integrity, their results speak louder than any words ever could. When you tell people what you do, you risk boxing yourself into a label that others can easily dismiss, misunderstand, or undervalue. But when you let your actions tell your story, you create a legacy that's undeniable. In this speech, I'll guide you through why you should avoid defining yourself with words, how to let your actions speak, and how to build a life that radiates value, impact, and purpose. This isn't about hiding who you are, it's about showing it in the most powerful way possible, through what you do every single day. The pitfall of labels. When someone asks, "What do you do?" they're often looking for a shortcut, a way to categorize you quickly. They want to slot you into a familiar box, a teacher, a lawyer, a salesperson, an entrepreneur. While these labels might describe your work, they don't capture the essence of who you are, what you're capable of, or the unique value you bring. Labels can limit you. They reduce your complexity, your passion, your contributions to a single word or phrase, and worse, they invite assumptions, comparisons, or judgments before you've had the chance to show what you're truly about. Think about it for a moment. If you say, "I'm a writer," someone might picture a struggling novelist or a corporate copywriter. If you say, "I'm a manager," they might imagine a desk-bound bureaucrat or a corporate climber. Those labels don't tell the full story. They don't convey the hours you've spent honing your craft, the lives you've impacted through your leadership, or the vision you're working toward. When you lead with a label, you give others permission to define you, to assume they know your worth based on a few words. But when you let your actions speak, you control the narrative. You let the world see your value through what you produce, how you carry yourself, and the difference you make. I once knew a man who called himself a consultant. It was a vague term, and people often dismissed him, assuming he was just another professional with a fancy title. But this man was a genius at turning struggling businesses into thriving enterprises. He solved problems others couldn't, created systems that transformed companies, and delivered results that changed lives. When he stopped telling people he was a consultant and started showing them his work, through case studies, client success stories, and measurable outcomes, people stopped questioning his value. His actions spoke louder than any title ever could. What's one way you can let your actions define you today? Labels invite assumptions, and assumptions can limit your opportunities. They can cause others to underestimate you, misjudge you, or overlook your potential. Instead of telling people what you do, focus on doing it so well that they can't help but notice. Let your work, your character, your results tell the story. That's how you build a reputation that opens doors, creates trust, and leaves a lasting impression. The strength of actions over words. Words are fleeting. Anyone can claim to be a leader, an innovator, a visionary, but actions are undeniable. When you focus on doing rather than saying, you build a reputation that speaks for itself. Your actions create evidence, tangible proof of your value, your commitment, your ability to make things happen. Every day, you have the opportunity to show the world who you are through what you do. Maybe today, you complete a project with such excellence that it leaves your colleagues or clients in awe. Tomorrow, you help someone without expecting anything in return, showing your character through your generosity. The next day, you solve a problem that others couldn't, proving your ingenuity through your results. These actions don't just show what you do, they reveal who you are. They demonstrate your work ethic, your creativity, your integrity, and those qualities speak louder than any job title or description ever could. I once met a woman who desperately wanted to be seen as a leader. She'd tell everyone, "I'm a leader," but her team didn't respect her. Her words fell flat because they weren't backed by action. I told her, stop saying you're a leader. Start acting like one. Show up early, listen to your team, solve their problems, inspire them with your actions. She took it to heart. She started mentoring her colleagues, taking initiative on tough projects, and showing up with a positive attitude every day. Within months, her team didn't just respect her, they followed her. Her actions made her a leader, not her words. What's one action you can take today to show your value? When you let your actions speak, you don't need to explain yourself. Your work becomes your voice. Your results become your resume. People will notice. They'll see the quality of your work, the impact you create, the person you are, and they'll trust you, respect you, and seek you out because of it. Force yourself to focus on actions, not words, and you'll build a reputation that's unshakable. Every small action you take, every task completed, every promise kept, every problem solved adds to the story of who you are. Make it a daily habit to let your actions do the talking. Building a life of impact. The philosophy of never telling people what you do is about more than avoiding labels. It's about building a life of impact. It's about creating results that are so powerful, so meaningful that they speak for themselves. Every day you have the chance to make a difference through your work, your relationships, your contributions to the world. When you focus on impact, you shift your energy from talking about what you do to doing it with excellence. Maybe today you finish a task with such care that it exceeds expectations. Tomorrow you go out of your way to help a colleague, strengthening your team and building trust. The next day, you share your knowledge with someone who's struggling, making their life better. These small acts of impact add up. They create a ripple effect that touches lives, builds relationships, and establishes your value without you ever needing to say a word. I once knew a man who was passionate about education. He could have called himself a teacher, a mentor, an educator, but he didn't. Instead, he focused on impacting his students' lives. He spent extra time helping them understand complex concepts, encouraged them when they doubted themselves, and celebrated their successes. His students didn't need to hear his title. They felt his impact. Years later, they still talk about how he changed their lives. That's the power of focusing on impact. What's one way you can create impact today? Impact isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most effective, the most meaningful, the most authentic. When you focus on making a difference, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it, feel it, remember it. Every small act of impact, whether it's a kind word, a job well done, or a problem solved, builds your legacy. Make it a daily habit to create impact, and your actions will tell a story that words could never capture. The art of quiet confidence. When you stop telling people what you do, you cultivate something powerful, quiet confidence. Quiet confidence is the belief in your own value, the assurance that your work speaks for itself. It's the ability to walk into a room and let your presence, your actions, your results do the talking. Every day, work on building that quiet confidence. It's not about arrogance or showiness. It's about trusting that your work is enough. Maybe today you focus on doing your work with excellence, knowing it will speak for itself. Tomorrow you resist the urge to boast about your accomplishments, letting others discover them naturally. The next day you carry yourself with poise, showing confidence without needing to prove anything. Quiet confidence is magnetic, but it draws people in because it's authentic, not forced. It shows that you know your worth, that you don't need external validation to feel secure. I once met a woman who was incredibly talented but felt the need to constantly tell people about her achievements. It came from insecurity. She worried people wouldn't see her value unless she announced it. I told her, let your work speak. Focus on doing your best, and people will notice. She started focusing on her results instead of her words. She delivered projects with excellence, collaborated with kindness, and carried herself with quiet strength. Soon people were seeking her out, not because of what she said, but because of what she did. What's one way you can show quiet confidence today? Quiet confidence isn't about being silent or invisible. It's about letting your actions be your voice. It's about knowing your worth and trusting that others will see it through what you do. When you cultivate quiet confidence, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll know. They'll see it in the way you carry yourself, the way you solve problems, the way you make a difference. Make quiet confidence a daily practice and watch how it transforms the way the world perceives you. Focusing on results. Results are the ultimate proof of your value. When you produce results, whether it's a completed project, a satisfied client, or a personal goal achieved, you create evidence that speaks louder than any words. Every day, focus on producing results no matter how small. Let those results tell the world what you're capable of. Maybe today you finish a task that's been on your to-do list for weeks, completing it with excellence. Tomorrow you go above and beyond for a customer or colleague, creating a memorable outcome. The next day you achieve a small personal goal like running an extra mile or saving a little money. These results, no matter their size, build a track record of success. They show the world what you do without you ever needing to say it. I once worked with a man who was frustrated because he felt overlooked at work. He'd tell everyone, I'm a hard worker, but he wasn't getting the recognition he wanted. I told him, stop talking about your efforts. Show it through your results. Deliver something extraordinary. He started focusing on producing measurable outcomes, completing projects ahead of schedule, solving problems creatively, exceeding expectations. Soon, his boss noticed, his colleagues noticed, and his reputation grew. His results spoke for him. What's one result you can produce today? Results don't lie. They're the evidence of your effort, your skill, your commitment. When you focus on producing results, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it in the quality of your work, the impact you create, the problems you solve. Make it a daily habit to produce something tangible, something that moves you closer to your goals. Whether it's a small win or a major milestone, every result adds to your story. Focus on results and your actions will speak louder than any words. Cultivating character. Your character is the foundation of everything you do. It's who you are when no one's watching, the values you uphold, the integrity you bring to every action. When you let your character shine, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it in the way you live. Every day, work on building your character. It's the core of who you are, and it's what makes your actions meaningful. Maybe today you do the right thing even when it's hard. Tomorrow you show kindness to someone who doesn't expect it. The next day you keep a promise no matter how small. These acts of character define you far more than any job title could. They show the world who you are and what you stand for. They build trust, respect, and admiration. I once knew a man it was a small business owner. He could have called himself an entrepreneur, a CEO, a visionary, but he didn't. Instead, he focused on treating his employees with respect, delivering exceptional service to his customers, and giving back to his community. His character spoke louder than any title. People trusted him, worked with him, and supported him because of who he was, not what he called himself. What's one way you can show your character today? Character is what gives your actions depth. It's what makes your work meaningful, your relationships strong, your life purposeful. When you act with integrity, kindness, and commitment, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it in the way you live. Make character a daily priority. Choose to do what's right, to be kind, to be reliable. Over time, your character will become your most powerful asset. It will define you in ways that words never could. The power of consistency. Consistency is the key to letting your actions speak. It's not enough to do something great once. You have to do it day after day. Consistency turns small actions into big results. It turns effort into excellence. Every day, commit to showing up, to doing your best, to letting your actions tell your story. Maybe today you put in an extra 10 minutes on a project to make it better. Tomorrow, you follow through on a commitment, even if it's inconvenient. The next day, you keep working toward a goal, even when you don't see immediate results. Consistency builds trust. It shows the world that you're reliable, dependable, someone who delivers. It's what turns potential into reality. I once met a woman who wanted to be a writer. She'd tell people, I'm a writer, but she rarely wrote. I told her, don't tell people you're a writer. Write every day, even if it's just a sentence. He started writing consistently, a little each day. Over time, her work improved, her portfolio grew, and her reputation as a writer became undeniable. Consistency made her a writer, not her words. What's one way you can be consistent today? Consistency is what separates dreamers from doers. It's what turns ideas into achievements. When you show up every day, when you take action every day, you build a body of work that speaks for itself. You don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it in your consistency and your commitment in the results you produce over time. Make consistency a daily habit. Show up, do the work, keep going. That's how you build a life that speaks for itself, creating a ripple effect. When you let your actions speak, you create a ripple effect. Your work, your character, your results don't just impact you, they inspire others. They show the world what's possible. They encourage others to take action, to strive for excellence, to live with purpose. Every day, think about the ripple effect your actions can create. Maybe today your hard work inspires a colleague to push harder. Tomorrow, your kindness lifts someone's spirits, encouraging them to pay it forward. The next day, your success motivates someone else to chase their dreams. Your actions don't just define you, they influence the world around you. They create a legacy that extends beyond your own life. I once knew a man who started a small charity. He didn't call himself a philanthropist or a leader. He just saw a need in his community and took action. He organized events, raised funds, and helped people in need. His actions inspired others to get involved. What started as a small effort grew into a movement that changed countless lives. His actions created a ripple effect. What's one action you can take today that might inspire someone else? Your actions have power. They can change lives, spark movements, create opportunities. When you focus on doing rather than saying, you become a force for good. You show others what's possible. You prove that one person taking action every day can make a difference. Make it a daily habit to create a positive ripple effect. Let your actions inspire, uplift, and motivate. That's how you change the world, one step at a time. Practicing humility, never telling people what you do, is also about practicing humility. Humility doesn't mean downplaying your worth. It means letting your work speak for itself. It means trusting that your actions are enough, that you don't need to boast or seek validation. Every day, practice humility. Let your results, your character, your impact do the talking. Maybe today you let someone else take credit for a team effort. Tomorrow, you listen more than you speak in a conversation. The next day, you focus on doing your best without seeking praise. Humility makes your actions more powerful. It shows that you're confident in your work, that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. I once worked with a man who was incredibly successful. He could have bragged about his achievements, but he didn't. Instead, he focused on helping others, sharing his knowledge, and doing his work with excellence. His humility made him respected, trusted, and admired. People sought him out because of his character, not his titles. What's one way you can practice humility today? Humility is the mark of true greatness. It's what makes your actions authentic, your impact lasting. When you let your work speak, you don't need to shout about your accomplishments. People will see them, they'll feel them, they'll remember them. Make humility a daily practice. Focus on doing good work, helping others, and living with integrity. That's how you build a life that's respected and revered. Living with purpose. The philosophy of never telling people what you do is ultimately about living with purpose. It's about aligning your actions with your values, your passions, and the impact you want to make. Every day, work on living a life that reflects who you are and what you stand for. Let your purpose guide your actions, and let those actions speak for you. Maybe today you reflect on what matters most to you, your values, your goals, the legacy you want to leave. Tomorrow you take a small action that aligns with that purpose. The next day you make a choice that reflects your values, even if it's hard. Living with purpose means letting every action, every decision, every moment reflect who you are. It means letting your life speak for itself. I once met a woman who felt lost despite her outward success. She had a good job, a nice home, but she felt empty, I told her, your purpose isn't found in a title, it's found in the impact you create. Start acting in alignment with what matters to you. She began volunteering, mentoring, and pursuing work that felt meaningful. Her actions became a reflection of her purpose, and her life became richer. What's one way you can live with purpose today? Purpose gives your actions meaning. It turns ordinary tasks into steps toward a bigger vision. When you live with purpose, you don't need to tell people what you do. They'll see it in the way you live. Make it a daily habit to act with purpose. Reflect on what matters. Take actions that align with it, and let your life tell your story. That's how you build a life that's meaningful, fulfilling, and impactful. As you leave here today, I want you to carry this with you. Your actions are your voice. Don't tell people what you do. Show them. Let your work, your character, your results speak louder than any words ever could. Every day. Day is a chance to build a life that radiates value, impact, and purpose. Every day is a chance to let your actions tell your story. Write this down. Your actions are your legacy. Don't limit yourself with labels. Don't define yourself by what you say. Define yourself by what you do. Commit to taking action every day, small, consistent, meaningful actions that move you closer to your goals. Maybe today you produce a result that exceeds expectations. Maybe tomorrow you show kindness that changes someone's day. Maybe the next day you act with integrity even when it's hard. Whatever it is, let your actions speak. So tell me, what's one action you're going to take today? What's one step you'll take to show the world who you are? Maybe it's finishing a task with excellence. Maybe it's helping someone in need. Maybe it's carrying yourself with quiet confidence. Whatever it is, do it now. The power is in your hands, and the results will be extraordinary. Keep going, keep acting, keep letting your work speak for you. Success isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. It's about the choices you make, the actions you take, the person you become. Start today, take one step, and then another, and then another. Before you know it, you'll be living a life that speaks for itself, a life of impact, purpose, and fulfillment. The journey begins now. What will you do with it? This is your moment. This is your chance to show the world who you are, not through words, but through actions. Don't let labels define you. Don't let others' assumptions limit you. Let your work, your character, your results tell your story. Take action today, tomorrow, and every day after. You have everything you need to create a life that speaks for itself. So go out there and make it happen. The world is waiting to see what you'll do.